The United States is selling billions of dollars in weapons to Saudi Arabia, one of the largest sales of its kind. And now there are concerns the sale shouldn't even go through because of new suspicions about the Saudis' role in funding the 9/11 attacks. Channel 2's John Bachman looked closer at these allegations.
Justin, former U.S. Senator Bob Graham was born in Georgia but now lives in Florida. He spent years looking into the September 11th attacks. He says too many Americans have already died because of our relationship with Saudi Arabia, and that nothing has changed in 10 years.
September 11, 2001, the deadliest attack on U.S. soil. 19 hijackers carried out the plot. Nearly all, 15 of them, were from Saudi Arabia. Some say it's more than a coincidence.
And have you said point blank that you believe Saudi Arabia was involved in the 9/11 attacks?
There's absolute no question that they were involved.
Former Senator Bob Graham co-chaired the Joint Congressional Committee that investigated the attacks. He wrote a book based on the committee's 800-page report. But U.S. security officials stepped in.
In that report was one chapter that primarily dealt with the role of the Saudis in 9/11. That was the only chapter in the book that was totally censored.
So he wrote a second book, this one fiction. He says Keys to the Kingdom is what he calls informed fiction and filled with a lot of events that really happened, like the Saudi agent who lived in San Diego. He was paid by Saudi Arabia for a job he never did and was given a huge raise the same month two of the hijackers showed up in San Diego.
What does that tell you?
Well, I think it tells us that Saudi Arabia is not the ally that we think it is.
Still, the U.S. is selling the Saudis $60 billion in weapons, one of the largest sales of arms ever, including F-15 fighter jets, helicopters, and missiles. Retired Georgia National Guard Lieutenant General David Poitras says keeping a close relationship with the Saudis makes sense, not just for oil, but because they help protect the U.S. fleet in the Persian Gulf.
What about then the contention that there is this Saudi connection to the hijackers of 9/11?
Who will ever know? The royal family has no doubt turned a blind eye to a great deal of fundamental Islamic radicalism.
And more evidence surfaced just weeks ago. The Miami Herald reported a connection between September 11th ringleader Mohammed Atta and a Saudi family who lived in Sarasota, Florida.
12 days before 9/11, that whole family quickly, in a very rushed situation, left Sarasota and returned to Saudi Arabia.
The FBI says it interviewed and cleared the family of any involvement in 9/11, but Senator Graham is skeptical. He says thousands of Americans have already paid the ultimate price for our close relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Do you think we're still paying a price for that cozy relationship?
Yes, because I think we're still treating Saudi Arabia as if it were a loyal ally.
Now, in just the past week, Saudi Arabia named a new successor to the throne. The Crown Prince is known for 36 years of work in counterterrorism, and one U.S. official says he has successfully drove out al-Qaeda from Saudi Arabia. And in a State Department document, it said he will continue security and other forms of cooperation with the U.S.
And the elephant in the room here is the fact that we buy billions of dollars worth of oil from Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely, and that's continuing to fund everything. You bet.
All right, John, thank you very much.